Hello. Welcome. Troll cannons primed and operational. Okay, let's get this thing working. It's working. Echo, echo, echo. Wait, there's echo? Probably because you hear me on Discord. Is it better, Destiny? Hello. Oh no, there is echo. It is not better. Okay, let me see. Why would there be echo? Why would there be echo? It's the same microphone as before. Didn't change anything there. Um, Let me see. Should be some noise reduction. I have a stream window open. Oh, indeed, I did have a stream window open. Okay, and I was not hearing it because my speakers are not going to my headset. Okay, is it better now? All good. Old man streamer issues. Well, I am an old man. What can I say? Stop reminding me, Alaric. Why are you doing this to me? All right, enough crying live on stream. Um, Welcome everyone to this developer update for our June month of development. Okay, that was weirdly said. I'm trying to, I'm trying to avoid the microphone that is right in front of my usable area here. So okay, let's see if I can do this. At least I can see my screen better this way. Let's maybe if I move it like this. Okay, I think this is better for me anyway. I hope you guys are hearing me just as well. Okay, let's get this started. Hi everyone. Thank you for being with us, and thank you for following. It has been a month since the last dev update stream. We decided to separate, not separate, but like lengthen the time between streams so we have more stuff to talk about, because sometimes you have less changes that can happen within a 2-week window. Because the last time was a lot of administrative work that wasn't particularly interesting to you all. So this time we're talking about what happened from last May to June, so the last month of development. There was also still quite a bit of administrative work. So I mentioned this before, and I mentioned it on my Patreon as well, that we're thinking about doing some hiring. So we had to do some budgeting work and looking as well into the sales tax requirements and accounting and things like that. Because for some of the states in the United States, there are some specific thresholds that once you reach them, you are you hit the economics nexus to the state, which means that I would need to start charging taxes for those specific states. And that means we need to figure out exactly which states are have thresholds, what those thresholds are, how many transactions we've done, for each of those states, and whether or not we are below or above the threshold, whether we need to register before or after, how many days or months after we reach the threshold we need to register and do the tax filing. And the United States is extremely complicated when it comes to um, when it comes uh, to taxation. Let me see. What's give us music, old man? You want some music? Um, you can do your own music, Destiny. You can do your own music. And yes, Alaric, there is some automation for this. There's a few that handle it. Not many of them handle it well. Um, Thankfully, Stripe has announced that they are that they are going to release Stripe Tax, which will make this extremely easy for us. But they're not yet taking Canadian companies for some reason, even though we just want U.S. Taxation. But yeah, there are other companies that take care of this. But yeah, the United States sales tax is extremely complex. There's 11,000 jurisdictions with, I believe, 600 changes this year alone. And one city will have a different tax to the other city, or even based on neighborhoods. And you have tax holidays, and it's extremely complicated. I wouldn't say fascinated, but like more like shocked at how complex this whole thing is. And you have to register. I mean, if you imagine the cost for registering in 50 different states, where it could be multiple hundreds of dollars in each, it's it's interesting. And then you have to file the taxes every month for each of those. I mean, just in administrative work alone, that would be huge. So thankfully, there are services that handle this, but we're still doing that research on what service we would be using for that. But even then, we would need to do the registration ourselves, and the remitting, the filing of taxes, and everything. Most of the services are more about, hey, give me a zip code and I'll give you what the rate is, basically. Um, yeah, I think a lot of businesses ignore this, but also a lot of businesses aren't necessarily international. Um, and from everything I've seen, whether it's with the accountants or even like corporate lawyers and stuff like that, it's like 99% of the use cases is a brick and mortar um, uh, shop. Basically, they don't really understand that much the concept of having a service that is online. And if you sell internationally, like the whole concept of you sell internationally, it's because you are a big manufacturer that is shipping crates, pallets of multi-thousand-dollar stuff. For example, most of the states, their thresholds is, for example, either 100 transactions or $200,000. So that's like, they estimate that it's like the average transaction is $5,000, not a SaaS platform and service like this where it's $4 a month. So that's kind of ridiculous. So we do have to deal with that. But anyway, that was a lot of the work that happened last month, but also continuing into this month with regards to the sales tax and stuff. Along with the budgeting as well. I mentioned that before. So we are looking to be hiring sometime soon. We need to figure out how many people we can hire and at what salaries and what kind of job we want them to have, what requirements, the job description, all of that. We are looking to mainly hire in Canada right now. Being local would be very interesting. So we're looking into that. But we might open hiring positions to more international people, but it's not yet completely decided at this time. But we are looking into these avenues for now. There was also a change when we had 0.8.7 released a few weeks ago, where it uses a new authentication system. for the users login, and that meant that the user manager on the Forge was broken. Unfortunately, it could not log you in because it could not know the passwords because they stopped storing those in the files. Therefore, we had to change some of the way that the user manager worked, and we fixed that. And that was something that had to be done. So there's a lot of issues that keep happening that we don't necessarily expect, and that break our timeline, our roadmap, basically, in terms of feature and implementation and stuff like that. So with that being said, one of the big things that we did was the CDN change, and this happened just this Monday. 2 days ago, we moved finally to a new CDN network. So yay! I'm very excited about that. We used to be hosting our assets library through Bunny CDN. So for those who are not aware, a CDN is a content delivery network. Let me see. By the way, Destiny, are you able to play some background music for us at low volume, just to have some kind of soundtrack? Not sure which one to use for this. Should we do Tomb of the Viper Prince? Is that particularly representative of me? I'm not actually hearing it, though. Maybe it's my own output. Oh yeah, I did not have the right output. Can you all hear it? No? Bernie Fritz says he's not hearing music. Let me fix that. So device. Does that work now? The old CDN is the Viper. Okay. All right. I think it's working. So let's keep going. What was I talking about? Yeah. Okay. Now I can't hear it anymore. Probably Destiny adjusted the volume for that. Okay. So yeah, we did move to a new CDN. So I think everyone is going to be quite excited about that. The reason being, of course, that the previous CDN was not reliable enough, unfortunately. We used to be hosted with Bunny CDN. And so for those who aren't aware, as I was saying, CDN is Content Delivery Network. What this means is that you have multiple servers all around the world, so that when you connect, when you want to download an image or something for your game, it's always going to download it from the server that is closest to you. And that makes it much faster, both in terms of the latency to download the files, but also the speed at which you're able to download it using the full bandwidth of your internet connection, hopefully. So that's one of the biggest advantages that you have with the Forge, is that your files are always hosted on this globally distributed network around the world that that allows you to access your assets library. Unfortunately, with Bunny CDN, there were some reliability issues. As much as we liked that platform, they had too many issues. There were slowdowns. Some regions had difficulty accessing the content they were supposed to, and it caused more and more issues that we were not feeling like we wanted to continue using them for our CDN services. And that caused us to switch to a new one. This has been in the works for a little bit of time, because it's not very simple. Destiny, can't you just make the playlist like play one track on repeat, or is that what you just did now? Okay. And so I'm hearing some. Yeah, there's apparently some music outside of my window. Yeah, we should start setting the audio balances ahead of time. Sorry about all the small technical issues, people. We're still new at this whole streaming stuff. And I'm apparently an old guy, so I can't even understand what the concept of streaming is, I guess. That's according to Alaric, by the way. So, yeah. Moving from one CDN to the other was not a simple task, so it did require a bit of work beforehand. There were some issues some features that were offered by Bunny CDN that Cloudflare doesn't support, so we had to try and work around that. We still are missing the feature of being able to flip images or add blur to them, so that's something that I'll be implementing on my side to compensate for the lack of that feature from Cloudflare. So you can expect to see that coming at some point soon. Maybe not entirely soon, but it's supposed to be coming rather than waiting until we implement that. But with the way that Cloudflare functions, there was a bit of a risk to just flipping that switch, and so we needed to use their API for the purging of the cache, for example, and we needed to test on how exactly it was going to happen when we switched the DNS, and that worked quite well. There was a small glitch, unfortunately, and that was my fault because I enabled DNS security a bit prematurely, and so that caused some issue for some people, especially in Europe. But it didn't last very long, thankfully. We also had a workaround for those who encountered that problem. And at the end of the day, we managed to move the entire platform to Cloudflare CDN. One of the advantages as well is that now the website itself, the forums and things like that, are also behind the CDN. And so we get this improved speed all around. One thing I wanted to mention as well is that with Cloudflare, we've moved up from being on a network that has around 53, I think, 53 locations to over 200 now. So that's better, obviously. So a lot more people will have servers closer to home, making it even faster for them, and that's great, obviously. So apart from that, with regards to the back-end work, that wasn't something that you could have seen without us particularly mentioning it, was the fact that we're still working on the support for the Australian servers. We did a new design. We're trying to make things even more error resilient, high availability, and things of that sort. So there's a new design for the server infrastructure that we will be deploying in the Australian servers. And just this week, we had finally the good news from the new service provider, as we are also switching to a new service provider for the servers themselves, that they finally enabled us the Australian location, because we had to request it manually and then back and forth emails before they enabled the option in our account to create servers in Australia. So we will be doing that soon, and yeah, that's about it from that front. I will be now moving the conversation to our dear friend here, Destiny Gray. And there you go, there he is. Hello, Destiny. Everybody say hi.
Hello, and... hello. Hello, you're gonna need to unmute yourself on Discord.
I will. Oh yeah, because there's a
Can you hear
delay
me?
there. Yeah, I can hear you.
Perfect. Great. So let's get this thing started. So today I'm going to be doing the Bazaar showcase. My name is Methuselah Honeysuckle, but you might know me as Destiny Gray on Discord. Let me just grab this screen share, stream it at the source, and wowie wow, look at that!
There it
Isn't that
is.
isn't that just the most beautiful screen share you've ever seen? Now,
Yes, that's a
do you
beautiful
know?
map.
Yes,
Those lines are
it's a
so straight.
it's so wonderful, isn't it? Now
Yep.
this is a better grid than I've seen in a lot of battle maps posted online. Some better than the ones I've seen for sale. But jokes aside,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to be showing off some really cool content today. And so I'm just going to copy and paste some of the links very messily into the live stream right here, right now. As I always like to make sure to credit this stuff whenever I'm sharing it. And a special thanks goes out to Mr. Dorgan de Boul, or however you pronounce that, as he has helped us, or specifically helped me, with learning use of his content.
Yep.
So, boop.
Dorgan Dubal, also known as Sven, I believe, the
Yes, and
developer of Moulinet.
indeed.
For
And,
those
or as,
wondering, Moulinet is a French word that means like a small windmill,
yes,
or like a food processor, something of that sort.
yes. And if you're thinking of how to pronounce it in French, the technical pronunciation is moulinet,
Moulinet.
I believe. Yes.
Yeah.
Not moulinet, apparently.
Yeah, I heard some English speaking people say Moulinet.
Right,
But
yeah?
yeah, it's Moulinet.
So, in case you don't know, Moulinet is a series of modules. You install the core module, and then you install as much content as you want on top of it. And what it basically does is properly indexes your files. So it's not just like, oh, you filter keywords in the file folder you're in. It searches the entire file, the entire folder you tell it to search, and it'll pull sources from online that you have access to. And this is frankly incredible. It's not something that's in Foundry yet. It's not something that's in the Forge yet. And
Yep.
so I was really excited. And then I was even more excited to find out that it does work for the Forge. It does let you upload your own content and indexes. And if you're subscribed at a high enough Patreon level and you're subscribed to other Patreons that give access, you can even download content externally into the Forge. It's
Yeah,
not as
that's the Moulinet Cloud feature that they recently released. I just want to give a disclaimer that we are showcasing here the Moulinet module, but we don't actually have anything to do with it. It does have the word Forge in the name, Moulinet Forge. It's completely unrelated to us. But we found this module to be really cool and useful for the user. So this is why we're showing it. It's in the Bazaar, obviously, but it's a free module that everybody has access to. And it's one of its features, which is the indexing of tiles and the searching, to be able to build your own maps using tile assets from artists such as Forgotten Adventures. Um, that was something that I wanted to do personally, and I didn't get the time to do it. And Moulinet Tiles came out, and it was exactly what I wanted. So I was really excited about that. So I sent them a patch to add support for the assets content from the Bazaar, and it was accepted quickly, and that just made it awesome for us.
radio. And I've always had a saying for people where every VTT eventually becomes a battle map creator, and every battle map creator becomes a VTT. So it is said, and so it shall be done. And so we're gonna. It's a little complex, but I'll guide you through it. So to get started with Molinet on the Forge and have it index all of the asset packages you've bought off the Bazaar, what you'll need to do is install Molinet Core and Molinet Forge. sorry, I have a bad habit of pronouncing it the wrong way.
Yeah.
Is you'll enable them. Okay, now watch carefully. You're going to click the hammer. You're going to very carefully click the tile, and you click index images. This literally takes no time at all. On the Forge, it might take a few minutes sometimes if it caches the index file, which is a little bit of complicated stuff that you don't really need to know about. All you have to know is that all this stuff marked Bazaar, this is all stuff available that we've purchased on this account from the Bazaar. So as you'll see here from Dungeon Tiles, we have all of these ice assets. They're a little slow to load because it's loading these very big previews. And I believe we can disable this here to where it's in a line and it loads a little better, or we can put it in a line like this and it loads even better where we can show it one at a time. And so I can just start throwing them down on a map and instantly it's like this. As long as the map's the proper resolution, we can start building it out. It looks very nice connected together as is intended by the original artist. Sometimes the images might be mismatching, but you just stretch out a bit and adjust it a little. Sometimes the guardrails are a little different too. But look at that. Whoop. Hold down
You
shift
need to,
and
yeah, shift.
yes. Bossman is like, he's ruining the display, but no, I promise it's amazing. And so obviously I'm doing it a little badly, but it's not as hard as I'm making it look out to be. I promise. So we're just going to ahead and delete that. But you'll see that you can do this with other stuff too. So for instance, weather overlays, hover over it, and that's the dust one. So I throw it down the map and dust overlay like that.
I think the important portion of it is that it's not just about browsing your files, because the browser in Foundry already allows you to, just browse and drag and drop your tiles. But the important part that this brings is the ability to search for the tile that you want. So if you have thousands of tiles of different things, then you can just do table and find a table. Or you have hundreds of tokens and you just want one for a commoner, or a spy. You could just search for that and it will give you the right files, even if they are in different directories and things like that. Because in Foundry's browser, it's not a search, it's a filter. So it only filters the current directory. So the advantage with Moulinet is that it will allow you to find exactly the tile that you want from different packages, different modules and things like that, and just bring exactly what you want. So that's really cool.
Exactly. And I know one creator who I'm a big fan of, who's already stated that with this module existing, they already want to start moving their content to the Forge because they're very tile and asset centric. And
Yeah.
so without a search function, they felt that the Forge wasn't very useful for their users. But with this search function, it becomes infinitely more usable.
Yep.
Yes. That is almost certainly the issue, Alaric. The grid size is incorrect in the scene versus what the tiles are intended for. That's always something to keep in mind, and it's a little awkward. But hopefully, with the Forge, you're also, in the end, it's still Foundry Virtual Tabletop, and you're just placing down tiles.
Yep.
There are plenty of map making programs out there that we'd recommend for easy import into Foundry. Dungeon Draft is a big one because they have a module that supports just importing into Foundry directly right away. It's super easy to use. It does work with the Forge, and I love it. Uh, you can also buy assets from many of the map makers and import it into the Forge that way, and it's just cash money. So we'll be moving on with it with this showcase, and we'll be moving on to Michael Gilfie. Now, I've been torturing Michael Gilfie with getting his packages approved on the store, but they are truly amazing. So let me just play a little bit of his ambiance for you. We're gonna scroll down to the haunted forest. So imagine this. you're getting ready to load your very creepy one-shot, and you need some spooky ambience. Well, what
Yeah.
better than a haunted graveyard?
And I
And
believe
so,
it's also Michael Gilfie's ambience music that you had put earlier when I was talking about
oh, that
the
was
stuff, was it?
McRow music.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Yes, Michael Gilfie does sometimes blend in some instruments into his ambiance though, which helps really set a mood because you can arrange wildlife noises pretty well and stuff like he's doing in this track, but sometimes just a subtle little violin in there just really spices up the ambiance and really sets a mood. And
Hmm.
so we'll also and the nice thing about Michael Gilfie's ambiance is that it works really well with some of this stuff. Like this map.
Yeah, that's just perfect.
Poor little Nosferatu here has seen better places and better days. He finds himself in a twisted graveyard setting. Everything is dark around him, and unlike us, he doesn't have the GM's vision of the entire map. This is a map by Divination Illustration known as the Church Graveyard Battle Map Pack. It has quite a few varieties. It has the walls set up, as you might notice here, and it has quite a bit to discover if you just limit the player's vision a little. Of course, there's always that one player with dark vision, which is why I encourage setting them just a bit off the map to give them a little to walk into. I find putting just a little tiny bit of distance so they're forced to slowly uncover more of the map makes the map feel so much larger, even if it's not amazingly huge. So, poor Nosferatu moves up the map. He comes to a cross on the road. Decides to go north towards a strange church that DM describes. And then, by God, there's raspberry jam everywhere. Someone's even spilled raspberry jam all over the church grounds.
Are you sure it's not strawberry jam?
You know what? It could be. I don't eat strawberry jam, so I don't know very well what it looks like. I eat a.
It could very well be.
But as you can see, zoomed out with the DM vision, there's a lot of potential here. You can see that they've set the mood very well. I've tuned up the darkness slightly for this map so that it looks even better, in my opinion, but really it's just a matter of personal taste. And you can see just that perfect bit of glow there, just that perfect bit of mood lighting. It's the kind of
Hmm.
map that works great for Foundry, especially since the walls conform so well to a standard grid system. And hey, look, the players can even, with a little help from the DM, break glass and jump through the window like any self-respecting player slash bandit would.
Yeah, this
And then
looks
they can,
amazing. I love the detail and the lighting also adds to that atmosphere. It's really nice.
yes, I could very well see this being a side quest in, I believe, a personal favorite of yours, Curse of Strahd, right, Kakaroto?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. The players have to collect all the strawberry jam before it's taken away by mean Mr. Strahd.
yeah. I would definitely see this as the church in Valaki, because you have the church and you have the graveyard right next to it, and something bad happened there as well. So it fits really well.
Yeah. Also, some whippersnappers have been digging up graves, and I'm sure you can make an interesting story about that. This grave even has a very disturbing set of eyes poking out of it. I think whatever is in this grave woke up on the wrong side of the deathbed. Anyway, we'll move on with that demonstration, but this map is definitely going to play a role in one of my campaigns. Perhaps not the one shot that I'm running for Kakaroto, but some campaign.
Yeah,
Instead, we're
no
gonna play.
spoilers.
No spoilers for that one shot.
Yep.
However, we are going to play. Let me look at this. Okay. I think this is a good one for the map coming up. Mysterious Jungle. This sets a whole different mood. So we're going to start zoomed out right away on this map. We're not going to be focusing on a token's vision. So this is by Mad Cartographer. And this is a kind of unusual package because it's not actually out on the Bazaar yet. However, at Mad Cartographer's request, they have asked that we show off their really rad map, and truly, I I think this map just looks beautiful with the color tone, the mood lighting, and the water right in the middle, and just the nice walls. I'm just
Yeah, it's incredible.
the walls just look so tasty. And let me show you what they look like. Oh my god, look at that. It's almost too perfect, but it's so good. So accurate.
Yeah.
Now,
There's
this wouldn't
so
be
much possibilities for puzzles in like every one of these rooms.
it's funny you say that cuz
Yeah,
this
because that's why I
actually
said it.
this part features a big part of the puzzles for this dungeon. You find a hint in another room, and you get a hint towards solving this puzzle. But I won't spoil it too much for people who want it ran for them.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be Mad Cartographer if they weren't a little extra with this upcoming map package. So let's say your players reach the gooey center of the dungeon, and let's also say your players are a camel. So they've reached the very center, and they're like, "Man, there's nothing here. Fucking DM. What did? Oh, sorry. Frickin' DM. What are you? What are you doing? This dungeon comes to an end right here. Wait, what are all those strange edges in the wall?" And that's when you reveal it. So, if I'm correct, we select the ring in the center. We select the quick attach menu. We attach selected elements. Oh, okay, not quite. There we go. Up. I broke it, Eunice.
You broke it. Why did you break it?
Okay, let's try that again. Oh, I think you have to begin combat, and then you...
Yeah, how to begin combat? Shouldn't you just like rotate that center one?
So, how it works, and I'm flubbing, and I feel so bad for Mad Cartographer, is they have instructions right here. So, you select the token you wish to rotate,
Yeah.
which is this one, and you select the appropriate ring in the combat tracker. Right, so we've opened up the combat tracker, and then we intend to rotate the rings. We select it in the, and then we open attaching UI, and then we select the actors on that ring, and then select. I've done it wrong, boss. I'm ruining the showcase.
You're ruining it!
Here. However, thankfully there is a solution to this. I swear I was able to do this consistently last night, but I seem to have somehow flubbed it in the process.
Okay.
Here, we're going to try that again from scratch, without me ruining poor Mad's content. So we're going to go to this adventure.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to once again drag the monster onto the board. Yeah.
And
Oh, I
then
wonder if the... Okay. So from there, we add that to the combat tracker. We add the camel to the combat tracker. Oh. Hmm. It's supposed... There we go.
there
There we
you
go.
go. There it
So you'll
is.
see here,
Oop.
we're rotating the inner part of the circle. And we're also rotating the outer part because I accidentally selected that. But
So
yeah,
there are three rings there then. Yeah.
You can rotate 2 of them from what I understand. So you see
Mm-hmm.
this inner part here. This is just one ring because but then you rotate. Oh no, it's not just one ring. But yes, there are 3 rings. I'm so sorry, Matt. I'm sure I'm flubbing it very badly. But I swear I was able to do this consistently last night, chat. And the point is, this
That's always how it happens when you go live with something.
yes. They have a very detailed guide here, and it's one of the most. And last night, when this is working properly, this is one of the most amazing things I've ever done in Foundry because they have a detailed guide. You rotate it. It's a little complicated at first, but then you do it, and then you're just amazed because you realize the potential that this has for Foundry and for running a dungeon in general. And your mind starts going crazy with the imagination and what you can do to homebrew this dungeon and take some of the puzzles that they specify within this adventure, because it wouldn't just be a mad cartographer map if it was just that gimmick. No, they had to add a whole darn adventure to this entire thing
Yeah.
with puzzles, with detailed labels, using images in the entire friggin' map. It's incredible.
Yep. I mean the art style itself, the map is absolutely gorgeous. It's beautiful. And then you add to it all the little details, the puzzles, the it just makes it a whole other level. And then you add on top of it the interactability. I don't know if that's the right word that you get being able to interact with that map and modify it. Um, it just makes it really awesome. So yeah,
For sure.
that's really cool. And this is not yet available in the bazaar. It will be very soon. But if you cannot wait to grab it, then it is available, from my understanding, on the Mana Cartographer's Patreon as a early access um, uh, map. Is that correct?
Indeed, it is currently on their Patreon, and it will be coming to the Bazaar, I believe they said next month. So this is a sort of sneak preview. What I would
Mm-hmm.
suggest if you're running this map is, first off, don't be afraid just because I made it look complicated. Again, I was able to make this work consistently last night without any problems. And second, download the first install the map fresh first, do a little practice, try to do different combinations with it, and then once you've done that, go wild with your party and actually do it with them. I think that's a great way to do very elaborate maps like that, so you can get a good handle on them first, and so you don't flub it like I do in the live stream.
It's okay. And
So,
I think DMs are used to flubbing things. Nothing ever survives first contact with the enemy. Is that the right expression?
oh yes, absolutely. I can remember. Oh my gosh, I have so many. I remember once when I was a DM, I'm going to tell this story before I leave off. My
Okay.
players came to the ocean, and as a joke, I decided to have the captain be named Captain Ahab from Moby Dick,
Mm-hmm.
and because the players always joked about how every D&D voyage has to end in disaster, and they were like, "Are we going to be attacked by a white whale?" And I was like, "You know what? You're going to be attacked by a white whale." And so on the fly, I threw together a quick whale monster. I uploaded the art literally while they were talking to the captain, and they kicked its butt, and I didn't see it coming at all with the whale thing, but it was just naturally, gracefully there. And then the players at the end said, "Man, you must have planned that for months." I was like,
Yep, definitely. That's what
I
happened.
muted my I muted myself because I was about to bust. But yep, that's all I have to showcase here. Buy this when it comes out. I know I am, and I'm gonna buy it for my DMs as well in the hopes that they run this adventure because I very carefully looked at as little of it but the instructions as possible so that I could be surprised. And I hope whoever you run this for will be surprised as well. But that's it.
Awesome. Thank you, Destiny, for this showcase of the bazaar. content and non-content, I guess, as well as the Moulinet, which is not part of our marketplace, but it is also available on the Bazaar. So um, thanks, that was awesome, and I really like to see what's in store for next month. What kind of new content will be showcased?
I look forward to it as well. This is always the Bazaar is one of my is my favorite part about the Forge. All its other features are cool too, but I just love being able to look at all these creators. I love getting to use all the creators, and I love looking at everything they submit because I approve all of it and thinking about how I can use that for my game because I probably will.
Awesome. All right. Let's get back to the development update. So I talked before about the stuff that was happening behind the scenes with regards to the budgeting, the sales tax, the networking changes, and the CDN. Um, but there was also obviously some changes that would have been visible to you all, such as an update to the Forge module. This is probably much more interesting for people who might want to move away from the Forge if they want to. I know that nobody wants to, but it is something that I like to provide the users the ability to do. So you can already export your games, and we have the Forge module that lets you access um, your assets library from your local installation of the Forge or from a friend's game if they have not seen the light yet and they are not hosting their games on the Forge. Um, and so the asset sync feature was released last month. And yes, I know I hear Skype notification. I use Skype only for one friend who still uses it. Please ignore that noise. Um, so yeah, the asset sync feature was released last month, which allowed you to synchronize your assets library with your local folder. And one of the things that was still missing and that was in the works was the ability to also change the entities in your world to use the local files instead of the assets library. So you already have this freedom of data where you can back up your content from the Forge and use it in your local installation, and you were able now to also back up your assets library to your local folder. And now the additional feature is that you are able to dissociate your local world from the Forge itself so you can use it in an offline environment. This is really useful if, for example, you want to be prepping on the train or in the plane or something like that where you do not have Wi-Fi access, so you would be able to still see your assets, even though they used to be on the assets library, so they were served by the CDN, they were online, but by using the database rewrite feature that was just released, then you would not have to do that anymore. So this is a great feature that I know that some people have been waiting for. Another thing that was worked on is the backup system. So you may not know, but we have a system that we use for backing up all of the users' data in case of a disaster, right? So the data center catches on fire, or a meteorite drops on the data center, or someone makes a mistake and deletes everyone's files. That won't happen, don't worry. But in case of a disaster, we have plans in place for recovery. And so we have a daily backup that happens of everyone's games. The only issue with that is that we cannot recover a single world, let's say, because if we wanted to recover that data, we would need to recover the entire uh, data of every single user. So terabytes of data that would take hours to to decompress and restore, making it impossible to recover a single world without overwriting every other user's worlds. And so, with the release of 0.8.6 last month as a stable release, I knew that we were going to get people who upgraded to 0.8, and as a measure of extra precaution, I wanted to make sure that we had a backup of everybody's worlds in a way that was recoverable. And I did that also almost maybe 6-7 months ago when 0.7 was released as stable. And so what I did was work on the backup system. So we would have these backups, and I did a lot of research, a lot of testing, and we revamped basically the entire backup system into a new system that is much more efficient and with a lot more flexibility. And that has been really cool because it also was the missing piece in the design for the time machine feature. And that laid the groundwork, the foundation for getting the time machine features implemented. And so the time machine feature, which is something for the world builder tier, is something that I've mentioned from the very start, but it's been always something that is not yet being worked on. And I think that with the work that we've been doing for the past few weeks in the background, laying that foundation for the backup system, we will be able to move forward with the time machine implementation a lot sooner than I had originally thought. So hopefully you'll soon see within the next few months some progress being made on the time machine feature and giving you the ability to potentially restore games from backups directly. This is something that I'm really excited about. I'd really like to get started on this sooner rather than later. One of the issues that I had with that was with regards to how to do it in an optimal way, and I think we finally have a good solution for that, so I'm really happy about it. And in other news, we also have an update with regards to the Beyond D&D Beyond integration. So we are using the metadata project from Mr. Primate's D&D Beyond Adventure Muncher, I believe is the right name, or Adventure Munch maybe. And so the metadata is something that he built with his Discord community in order to provide scene information for various scenes in the D&D Beyond worlds. So if we take, for example, Lost Mine for a Fendelver here, and I just install it and I convert it to a world, it will now be using this metadata from Mr. Primate. And when I say now, this is currently in the development server. It's not specifically available to you quite yet, but it is coming very soon. It is still being worked on, so there are still some improvements to be done there. But yeah, you can already see what kind of result you might expect from it. And so I just did Lost Mine of Fendelver, and I'm doing Curse of Strahd now. We'll see how those worlds are shaping up to be. So Lost Mine of Fendelver and Curse of Strahd. So I'm going to launch these, and once they launch, we'll have a look at it. So the Ddb Metadata Project is something that Mr. Primate started. We had some discussions around it. We did some brainstorming with him. And our portion of the work so far has been mostly about setting up some specific guidelines to be able to have a very consistent and high quality level of conversions of prep work being done, so that from one adventure to another, regardless of who does that prep work, you can expect to have the same kind of consistency. So same, every DM is going to be different. So some people might put the walls right on the line of the wall itself. Others might put it a few pixels behind so that the players can see the actual wall line and texture and things like that. Or the grid size, some might prefer 50 pixels, other might prefer 100 pixels, etc. So we want to have a very standard way of doing these conversions, and for that we started working on that setup. You see it's a bit long to start up the worlds. It's first of all because it's dev server, and second because of the 0.8.7 bug that makes it very slow to load. And that's okay. Well, we'll just wait. If you go to the Ddb Metadata GitHub, you can see the link to the spreadsheet that gives you what is the status on all of these adventures, and you can also submit your own. So we started working on that, and now we're integrating this work that Mr. Primate's community has been working on. All right, it is a bit slow. Okay, I just needed to reload actually. Oh, now it worked. Okay. So there's Lost Mine of Vendelver. Is it loading? Did I break it? No? Okay. There it is. So we can see Cragmaw hideout here. You can see the walls. It's all done with some lighting as well. You can see the castle here with the lights everywhere, the trap, the walls, obviously. Wave Echo Cave as well is pre-walled. There's not a lot of token information yet, so for that I'm waiting to actually implement the cross references. So when it comes to the monsters, you have monsters that are from the PHB or the monster manual, so that it's you can get all of the monsters that would be available in that campaign, not just the ones that are specific to the campaign. And so yeah, there's your maps. You see here with the lighting information, the walls, the windows, everything is pre-done for you. This is really great. Those who worked on this have done a great job. I absolutely love this, and I can't wait to see just how much more improvements are coming to this data. So yeah, that's what we've been working on with regards to the D&D Beyond integration work. It's still not yet available. This is on the development server, so it will become available soon. In the meantime, something that I'll push the update right after this stream is the fact that I'm making the free content available without the requirements of the Patreon support. So if it's the basic rules or the Frozen Sick adventure, those are both free content offered by D&D Beyond. And as such, I'm also making them available for everybody on the Forge, even if you are not a patron of me, Kakaroto, because if you want to beta test this, if you want to beta test the feature and give it a try and provide me with the feedback, etc., then you would need to be a patron. But for the free content, I'd be happy to provide that to everybody. And by the way, thank you to everybody who has given this D&D Beyond integration the support via Patreon, and who have provided us with the feedback to keep improving it. And yeah, thanks everybody for that. So what else apart from that? Yes, the scene information is coming really soon. It's still in the final stages of polishing. and so it's not going to yet be available. But just wanted to give an update on the progress that has been made there. In other news, there is the French Foundry Discord community who is doing a new sort of talk show talking about all things Foundry, and I want to show you. Here you go, TV Geek Power, and they are French, and they do this talk show in French. And since I am Quebecois, I speak French, and I have been invited to be a guest in that show for this Sunday. So Sunday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, or I believe it would be 6 p.m. French time, France time zone. I will be a guest on the show, and I'll be there to answer questions and talk about Foundry and the Forge. And if there are French speakers who are interested in watching that, feel free to join, and we'll be linking, providing you the links to the Twitch and their YouTube channel in the comment section here. Apart from that, that's about it. I do have a plan to take some time off, some vacation, but I don't have any specific dates yet for that. But you might see a ghost, not so much a ghost, but like I might be less available. I will always be available in case there are any emergencies or anything mission critical. I'll be there to react to it, obviously, but I might be taking some more time off, and yeah, might see some drop in my involvement both on Discord or in development progress. So that's what I wanted to announce. I will publicly announce the dates when I actually make the decision on what dates I'll be taking off. It will be sometime towards the end of July, in my opinion. Potentially the beginning of August. We'll see. But yeah, that's it from me. That was our dev update. Took about an hour, so a little longer than I expected it to be. But that was 1 month of updates rather than 2 weeks. So I guess it's to be expected. So if there are any questions, now I guess would be a perfect time for us to start answering questions from the chat. Let me see if I can put some music. Oh boy, here Alaric goes again. All right. If you can get a reverse sync from local to assets library, of course, all you need to do is go to My Foundry and then click on the nice little button called import, summon the import wizard. And you just select your data folder and it will reverse sync from local to assets library. Why not from the local Forge tool itself? Because the local Forge tool cannot import into the remote. That's I mean, I think you're trying to troll, Alaric. I'm not sure if it was an actual question. It's yeah, but Alaric, it cannot access all of the local files. First of all, there is a security measure within Foundry that prevents you from accessing any of the DB files. So it can't technically upload the DB files to import it. So you can't do that from within Foundry itself. Will that import work in conjunction with Moulinet? What do you mean by that, Ari Rate? So Moulinet will be able to So from local store, you would actually go. I don't know if I have that here, or I probably have it in my regular game. For Moulinet, you would go to Assets Library, and there you go, Moulinet, and then you have Tiles, Custom, and then you can just put whatever you want here. And when you go into Moulinet and say to index the files, it will automatically index these from your assets library. That will work, not a problem. Yes. Because I believe it's even in a local environment, it would be the same path: Moulinet /tiles /custom, something like that. What are the top 5 most used systems on the Forge, and you think the Forge user base is representative of the Foundry user base at large? Oh, that is a great question. So if you go to the Bazaar, so answering Shindet Nemo. All right. So if you go to the Bazaar and then click on systems, then you can sort by most popular. So the most popular is the D&D 5e. So if you click it, you can see Forge installs. That tells you that the system has been installed on 78.7% of the Forge games. So that gives you the statistics. The second most popular would be Pathfinder, installed on 15.13% of Forge games. And then you have Warhammer, and then Pathfinder 1, and then Savage World Adventure Edition with 4.76% of installs. So those are your top 5 most used systems on the Forge. As for the representation of the Forge user base versus the Foundry user base at large, I believe it is very representative of it indeed. As I mean, I haven't done the test in a few months, but last time we checked, and we did that a few times with a few months in between, I would be checking how many installs there is of particular modules. So let's say Dice So Nice. So I know the percentage here, but from my side, I can see the exact number of installs, and then I can compare that with, say, the number of installs as reported by the Dice So Nice. I think somewhere there's like releases, analytics, something. I'm not entirely sure, but there was something either on GitHub or GitLab, but it was able to give us the statistics on how many installs there is. I think I did it with the Furnace, which was highly installed, and Dice So Nice was probably provided to me by JDW, one of the developers of Dice So Nice. So I think the statistics are only available to the module developers themselves. But we did comparison between the number of installs total of downloads, basically, of the module versus how many there are that are installed on the Forge. And generally, we came with 30 to 35%. So I believe the Forge represents about 1/3 of the Foundry community at large. So it's a pretty significant user base, especially with regards to a software that is promoted as being self-hosted. And therefore, I think, yes, it is very representative of the user base at large. Yeah, it's not everybody realizes that there's plenty of metadata that is available here. And this is actually, if you look at Foundry Hub, they use the exact same. They use the Bazaar API actually to show you the installs. So 64.34 and 64.34. They use the Bazaar for that because we built the Bazaar API along with the Foundry Hub developers, their help on the design and what their needs might be, etc. So yeah, on Foundry Hub you get the same information. There you go. So question 2 from Alaric. So everyone can ask for a backup now and get it easily if they email you. No. The answer to that would be no. It would be possible now versus before, but the backup that I did was right after the 0.8.6 release as stable. We don't yet have a system for daily backups of that new format. Once the new backup system is released, it would be part of the time machine features, and it would allow world builder users to recover a backup through the Forge interface directly, if they are of the right tier, because I believe that would not be something that would be offering to the game master or storyteller tiers. So yeah. So what is the time scale to move from D&D Beyond integration to full release? When it is released, will there be stuff reserved for Patreons? I don't have a time scale specifically. There is just so much to do, both in terms of the D&D Beyond integration as well as just generally with regards to the Forge. I mean, from server administration, as we were talking about the new Australian server, the CDN recently, there's quite a bit of work that needs to be done. So D&D Beyond integration is not my 100% focus. I have, unfortunately, too many things that I need to manage at the same time, so I can't commit to any time of deadline or estimate or timescale because of that. Because there's always something coming to distract me and take me off course because of an unexpected bug or an unexpected event that makes me need to handle it. But I believe from what I want to do is to provide the cross-referencing work. That's I think very important to have, so that if you are importing, let's say, Curse of Strahd, and there's a rat, the rat is not part of Curse of Strahd, it's part of the basic rules. So it's not part of Curse of Strahd, but when you're importing Curse of Strahd, it would be able to go see that you have access to the basic rules, the rat is in there, and then it brings that along with it. So when you import Curse of Strahd, it brings all of the monsters that you might be needing, and cross-references it, and as well as with the tokens, etc. So there is some work to be done as well with regards to the metadata, to the data that is there. There is some work that I want to do with regards to the versioning as well. As you can see, everything here is version 001. I want to make a system that will merge both the version of the data from D&D Beyond along with the version of the converter itself, along with the version of the metadata, in an efficient way, so that people can see when updates are available to them. Another thing that I want to do is with regards to importing something as a module. So if you enable, let's see, I hope I have something installed. No, I don't have it. But if you have a module installed, I might have it actually in my own personal world. Chrome is running out of memory. But anyway, when you import it as a module, the compendium is really hard to navigate and use within Foundry, unfortunately. And I want to have my own interface that allows you to quickly and easily see what those are. So let's see if I have DDB. No, did I call it D&D Beyond? Oh yeah, I called it DNDB. Okay, so let's say I enable Lost Mine of Phandelver, right? And so in my compendiums, I'll see that I have Lost Mine of Phandelver. I have all these monsters here. And then there's some journals here, but it's not packed into folders. It's not neatly organized. It's a bit difficult to access. So what I want to do is have a D&D Beyond compendium button right here where you can click it and just automatically have a new window that is much more easy to use, to navigate, to view, with each of your worlds. So you have basic rules, you have the PHB, you have the monster manual. You would see the cover image just like we see them in here. So you can just click on it and then navigate with folders and everything sorted in the right order, and just making basically a compendium browser that is specific to D&D Beyond content. and so that's also part of the feature set that I want to have before a full release. Um, as for the second portion of the question, when it is released, will there be stuff reserved for Patreon? I think so. I don't think there will be like a feature reserved for Patreon, um, but the D&D Beyond content would be sold at a small percentage of the actual book. So if you have the Curse of Strahd game being sold at $50, you might buy the Foundry version of the adventure for $5 or $10, something of that sort. Right now, with the Patreon, you have access to everything. So what I might do is either give a sort of discount or just make everything available for free for those who have been in the beta and helped test it. I have done something similar in the past. When I was beta testing the Forge itself, it was available for free to all my patrons, and once I released, I made it. I believe it was the first month or something like that. It was free, and then I gave a assets and a data extra for a year to everybody who helped beta test as a gift, as a thank you for dealing with all the bugs before everybody else. So that's probably something that I'll be trying for everybody that has helped during the beta. So it wouldn't be necessarily those who are still patrons, but more like those who have been patrons during beta and made use of the feature to test it. All right, let's see. Question 3. Will Mr. Primate be compensated for his contributions somewhere, or will the content be cheaper as the metadata is from public source? More on this, will the conversion from their metadata that require a lot of manual work on your side? So Mr. Primate is already being compensated via Patreon. The work from the metadata is fan content policy. It's public, and I believe most of that work has been done by people in his community. The content will likely be cheaper due to it being public, in the sense of originally what I had in mind was that I would be spending quite a bit of money to contract people to do a professional job of VTTizing or digitizing the adventures to be ready for the VTT. So the cost would have been higher for that specific reason. Now I think because it's community provided and it's part of the fan content policy, which makes it publicly free and things like that, I think there might not be as much of a need for that. Will the conversion from their metadata that require a lot of manual work on your side? I'm not sure what the question is, but there is still quite a bit of work that will need to happen with regards to that metadata, because we want to have a consistent experience for all of the adventures. So we'll need to review all of that data. We'll need to make sure that it follows the specifications that we have established. Yeah, so there might still be some stuff there that needs to be done from our side as well. Question 4. Will you solve the D&D Beyond CSS issue on your end? Yes, it is already being worked on. The dev server doesn't include the CSS anymore, so that's probably going to come as part of the next update. However, I want to do something smarter than just include or exclude the CSS. I want to basically take the CSS and parse it and extract the information that I need from it, because I really like the fact that you join the world and you see I guess I didn't like me having 4 different VTTs open at the same time, run out of memory. It does I did like having the background change to show like the book background, which is really nice side effect of that CSS. But that CSS also includes some styling for the read aloud text and things of that sort. So I wanna include that as well. Yeah. Estonian server location, when that is planned for 2035. Question 6. Will you be on the board for the adventure metadata to reject or accept the fan contributions? Um, that's a good question. We haven't specifically discussed how the contributions are accepted or rejected. Um, but I want to do so the way that it currently works with regards to the scene data, it's per adventure, and you have JSON files that use some kind of random ID. Um, I'm not a fan of that specific design. It works well, but it's not something like the way that I want it to be is an actual module, like a Foundry module with the data, with the scene data and everything as part of compendiums, and then having flags on those to tell you how to do the matching between that data from the compendium, which is purely fan content policy, with D&D Beyond content. There is also the ability that we want to have different levels of different scene data for the same scenes. So you could have something that is pure vanilla Foundry, or something that uses um, some modules like trigger happy, stairways, multi-level tokens, and things like that to enhance even further the experience. And there are also some potential styling issues where someone might want isometric version versus a 2D version and things like that. But yeah, these are things that are being discussed. Uh, I don't think it would be bad if they did the work and we say we don't like how the walls were done, because it's something that we've discussed with them with regards to our requirements. And we said that we acknowledge that they've already started that work. So we don't want to go and say, "Hey, you did this, but we don't want any of that. You need to redo the work." That wouldn't be nice, obviously. So we are willing to bend our vision of how it should be to a specification that is closer to what they have already done. For me, it's not so much about whether or not it needs to be 50 pixels per grid or 100 pixels per grid, but it's more about the fact that all the adventures need to have a consistent grid size, right? So if we decide, oh, we want 100 pixels per grid, and then we see what the data that was contributed by the community of Mr. Primate is using 75 pixels per grid, then we would simply change our specification as long as all the adventures use the same size. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of use by use case. Like some maps have 10 feet grids or 20 feet, or some are there's all sorts of variations that can make it complicated, right? So we're trying to take all of these things into consideration and act accordingly. But yeah, we would be likely looking at matching what they've done rather than imposing our own vision, right? But at the same time, we are aware that we might disagree on how some things might need to be done, and that's perfectly fine. And that's also part of why we would be able to have different levels or different options or styles for importing, right? So that's something that we work on and we're discussing. And yeah, let's see what Destiny answered. Yeah, multiple options. Yeah, I mean, so far I have not been disappointed by anything I've seen from what they've done. It's a very good job and very professionally made, in my opinion. I haven't looked at everything, but I've looked at, well, everything that I've seen so far is looking really good. So I don't have too much of an issue with that. It's really great, what they've done so far. So I don't expect that we'll be saying we don't like what you did, because we like everything they've done so far. Yeah. So I think that's about it. I'm getting tired, so we've done about half an hour of Q&A. So um, I'll let you all get back to DMing or whatever it is that you plan on doing. Um, oh, let me answer one last one from Ari Red. So can we showcase some asset sets next time? So the way that we've been doing the showcase is that we use a dice roll basically. We roll dice on the various creators, and the ones that get chosen, we ask them if there's something specific that they'd like us to showcase, and if not, we just pick what we like the most and we show that. So we don't want to be focusing on a specific person, or you know, if we look at assets, I think there's just a few. There's less creators there than elsewhere, so maybe there would be an advantage for people there. We're trying to keep it very fair, or at least as fair as we can. So hopefully, the next die roll will land on a 20, and that's a assets developer, assets artist, creator, and we can showcase that for the next stream. Um, but yeah, that's about it from me. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for following us. And if you wanna be sure to catch us next time, make sure to give the Twitch channel a follow and turn on the notifications so you can see me um, next time, as well as Destiny, talking about all this stuff. And if you need anything, make sure to drop by on Discord, and ask any questions. And we have a absolutely amazing community there, great moderators, and a lot of people who are there that help answer all the questions. And Destiny's gonna post some links to our social, or whatever it's called, and that's it. And is that right? It doesn't work. Well, I can't. I guess OBS is frozen. Thank you, Ari Red, for the follow. So OBS is frozen. I wanted to go to the ending transition thing, but it doesn't work. So I'm just going to end it by, I guess, killing or stopping OBS. So thank you all for being here, and see you again next time. We will be announcing on Discord the next dev update stream. It will probably be in a month, so towards the end of July. So yeah, that's it. Thank you. Bye bye. I think I need to kill process for OBS. It's really frozen.